Okay, so just to finish the point that I started. So I think that the problem with material objects is that my symbols are just too small, because I think that the Neros, they expect large symbols that are much larger than the object that they actually need to create in order to I think that that's the mode of work. And so, for example, if I want to create like a ring that is not very small, because I have created very small and delicate rings already, both in the microscopic scale and a little above the microscopic scale. This was already, I remind you that it actually happened, but they were very, very small and delicate. I mean, and I want something like ring, so my daughters will be able to actually like to put it on their fingers, and maybe I will be able to sell the stuff. So I think that the symbols needs to be much, much bigger, and I'll try to conduct more experiments with much bigger symbols. Now, I mean, you can ask me, okay, this is true for the worms, for example. That, I mean, worms, the rods are much bigger than the actual worms that are created, and you can see that when the Neros want to symbolize something, then indeed they create it in a much bigger scale. So I mean, the reverse way is also true. But I mean, how can you reconcile that with what I mean? You've shown us like the black goo or the brown goo, and you've told us that this thing is supposed to be like a human. So how do and I mean and the symbol that you've shown us, that the idol was, I mean, pretty small. So I mean, what's happening here? Like, I mean, how can you actually reconcile it? So I will explain, and this is just it's just a theory, an alien theory, as they say, just a theory, an alien theory. But I mean, it's a theory. But I'll tell you what I think. I think that actually, what happened, like actually in the glass where the famous black guru or brown guru was created, is that, I mean, we had the main symbol and we had supporting symbols. I think that the main symbols was actually the symbol of the Nero. And we already know, I mean, from other experiments, what symbolizes Nero very, very well. And the symbol of a Nero, I mean, there are several ways to symbolize a Nero, but the symbol of a Nero that, I mean, we know for certain, I mean, that symbolizes a Nero is a Nero. Not a real Nero, but the candle that is called the Nero, that actually the Nero is named after. And this is kind of like a prophecy, as I ever say. It's a divination, because when I named the Neros after the Neros, I didn't know that they actually look like that at all. So this is, I mean, this is bona fide prophecy. I remind you, I mean, I don't have any Neros left actually, and this, I mean the Neronim. Nero is, I should remind, I mean, the audience, I mean, that Neron, Caesar Nero was all in Hebrew. It was called Neron, and Neron also means also small candle, and Neron is also the name of like of a product of a kind of candle that is very, very, very common in Israel. Actually, it's given away for free in like markets in Fridays and holidays by pious religious women. It's given for free for like mainly for other women and girls, like, I mean, to use it, because it's very common in ceremonial like for Shabbos and things like that. So but it's, I mean, it's also sold, like, I mean, very well. It's one of the most, I mean, the most like common candles. It's called the Neron. This is the one which is empty. It's like, I mean, it's only the aluminum. It's burned, as you see, and I mean, here there is the beeswax. No more beeswax because it's all burned. So I named the Neronim after the Nero, and it's actually, I mean, from above, it's actually, this one is a little bit burned, but it's actually look like that when from above. You see the like the circle inside the circle and the silver, and also, I mean, when it's burned, like, I mean, the beeswax burned, it's yellow, it's like yellow and like glowing, which looks just like the Nero when they are pregnant. I mean, according to my latest theory, when they are about to clone, when the yellow pools inside them. So the Nero really looks like a Nero, and I placed the Nero on top of I placed 3 of those, like, on top of the glass, on top of the cover, which was transparent, and and they were burning, if you remember, and they were lit. So actually, what I think that the symbol was this one actually, the symbol of the Nero, but we know that there are all sorts of kinds of Neros. So, and the human was a supporting symbol, and there was another supporting symbol which are my fingerprints. They were, this specific glass. I mean, it had my fingerprints. Actually, I already cleaned it, but we have another glass with my fingerprints that you can see. It's not this, the other glass. I mean, it was clean, but it looks like just like that with my fingerprints in red paint. So, what I think it happens is that these were like supporting. I mean, the idol of the human and the fingerprints were a supporting symbol, and the main symbol was the symbol of the Nero actually. And the Neros, I mean, were much bigger than really like the Neros. I mean, the candles are much bigger. So I think the order, like, I mean, for the Neros was to create a human being like on B'Tselmi U'B'Dmuti. And it sounds like ridiculous, but I mean, we have already seen them. They can do such things. I mean, this is reality. I mean, you need to get used to the fact that these robots can create almost like anything, and yes, certainly including human, and certainly my own clone. And I feel bad now that I actually... Did I taste it? No, I did not taste it. No, I did not taste it. I did not eat my own clone. No, I did not do it. Thanks the Lord that I didn't do it. But I certainly burned it, like, I mean, I certainly burned the stuff, so yeah. Do I feel bad? I mean, I feel bad for all of you that, I mean, all of you were actually participating in cannibalism, like, I mean, in majors, like, large-scale cannibalism, I mean, facilitated by the Israelis, but yeah, not only the Israelis participated in this cannibalism. Anyway, I think that that's what happened, that they created Neros, I mean, but of the type of human that is like, I mean, that is using my fingerprints as the identification of what human. And yeah, of course, they couldn't have actually done it inside. Like, they couldn't actually create a human inside the glass. But they as you see, they start projects. I mean, it's always it's very common, and you've seen it actually even in this slide today that. They start stuff, like, even if they don't have, like, the raw material and the energy and the numbers or the conditions to actually complete it. But they start things, and they complete, like, the small thing, they actually complete them. But the bigger ones, if you remember that we've seen in the end of the video, like, I mean, with the cross-like, or more like, I mean, butterfly or fly-shaped, like, things. These were, like, things that, I mean, they had to stop in the middle because they died. You know, maybe not all of them died. I've rewatched the movie 2 times, and there is a point when I say, you look at them, they look really well, and I point to Neros that are just, I mean, beside a sculpture of a string-like life form, and I say that they look very well. So these actually might be alive, and we might actually quote them like walking on the string-like shape. And so it means that they can actually, I mean, and it's not that improbable that they can live outside my body in like bad condition for 3 days. I mean, they can certainly do it for many days, like, I mean, in good conditions, but even like in like subpar condition with exposure to the elements and to contaminations and to oxygen, they can, I mean, it's still possible that they can live like for more than 3 days. And I mean, I think that's what we've seen, that I mean, on this specific part, it was actually living Neros, and we've seen that they are right on the string like sculpture. I mean, presumably working on it. So I mean, and the practical implication of the theory is that to create much bigger symbols for the things that I want to create, and there are several things that I want to create. Most of all, the rings, of course. I mean, eventually I will be. I mean, I have all the confidence that eventually I will be able to create rings and to give it. I mean, the first one will be gifts to my daughters, but the others I will sell. Just another point that people can ask. I mean, we don't really understand. I mean, you deal so much with the cloning issue, but you just now say that you know how to symbolize a Nero. So I mean, and you say that you think that you created like, I mean, a neural mixture that is like based on your like fingerprints, but so I need to be more specific here, because these are not the same kinds of neurons, and this is a very important distinction according to my theory. And this is just a theory because I don't really know what, I mean, I've never eaten your coffee, what you call coffee or tea or whatever. Like, I mean, I've never eaten it, and no one ever gave it to me, and I mean, I understand that it's something that comes from like from like the menstrual cycle or the blood or the pee of like of your female robot slaves, if I understand correctly. But no one ever gave it to me, like, because it's never, ever in my life. So, and certainly I haven't seen it like under the microscope, and I haven't seen it at all. Not under the microscope or not in any other way. But my estimation is that these things that you eat, I mean, it's easy. I mean, these are also nanobots, but of different kind. And I think that the source is either like fluids like that you get from the robots, or actual robots that I mean, presumably committed suicide. And you know that how much the Israelis like, I mean, to persuade the robots to commit suicide, and then they actually dig it at them, and they are buried like outside of the cemetery as part of the Jewish tradition, and then they are taken out of the cemetery and cooked, and I mean, eaten by the Israelis, and the remains are sold abroad. Yeah, I mean, that's the gruesome reality that you people of the intelligence communities of the world live in. And according to my estimation, I've spoken about it quite a bit during the last 2 weeks or so, it's not exactly the same material as the neurons that you find in my body. I think that neurons in my body are, first of all, are much bigger and with greater concentration, much greater concentration and much bigger. And they are not of the same kind. It's like the super neurons, or like different kind. And I've already, I mean, I spoke about quite a bit. I don't want to repeat myself, but there are several good arguments why it's not the same thing. And most of all, my neurons can create the other type of neurons. They are like their creators. They can be their creators. And the other neurons cannot replicate themselves. If they could, I mean, then, as I said, the whole scarcity of the neurons, not only in the Terran culture, but also in the Venusian culture, was absurd. I mean, why is it so important if you can actually clone it? I mean, it's stupid. And so, I mean, I don't think that it doesn't make much sense that both the Venusians and the Terrans, I mean, were occupied so much on how to get the stuff, that if this stuff is actually clonable. So I think, I mean, and for other reasons that I also mentioned, but it's not, I don't really reiterate too much, especially it's not things that I've just spoken about not a while ago. I think that my own neurons are it's not just that my body contains much more and much bigger ones, but also they are of different kind, and they are super neurons, or I mean, they are creators of they can be used as creators of the other neurons. So it's not the same thing to clone my neurons, or to create I mean, the goo that presumably another robot is actually made of. Okay, so this is it's just a theory, an alien theory, but I mean, as I said many times, we need theories. Theories are important, and it's much better to have multiple theories, even though you need to discard some of them, or even all of them along the way, then, I mean, to be in a place that you conduct science without any theories. And several times, during the last couple of months, in several fronts, of my scientific research, I've been in this position where I'm no, I have no more theories, and it's not a good place to be without to not have theories. I mean, it's much better to have several theories and to conduct experiments that will prove, or, I mean, substantiate. I mean, according to the Popperian thought, you cannot really prove a theory. You can just disprove it, or, I mean, make it stronger. But anyway, it's better to have theories that, I mean, that will guide you in your that will, I mean, make because if you don't have theories, then you can conduct experiments, but you will just hold data. It will be more and more data, but without any vector. I mean, and with theories, I mean, the experiments actually direct you to some place. Either they falsify the theory, or they strengthen the theory. So, I mean, you feel that you're walking in a path with the direction. Okay, so that will be all for now. a lot of things to do, and so we'll have, I think, an interesting week. I feel like watching TV, but I'm always disappointed. I mean, of the things that there's nothing good on TV. Anyway, bye for now.